to. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our usual weekly session. We are supposed to have this analysis yesterday at 8 p.m. Unfortunately, I got some engagement that were unavoidable. So I decided we're gonna do it early this morning, and here we are. So every week, I want to make it clear to you, every week on Sundays, we shall be having our live analysis at 8 p.m. And then we shall be introducing a psychology session for Fridays to all of us every Friday morning hours. So in the meeting, I can see we have Brian, Elias, Elvis, Fatma, Emmanuel, Henry, Hilary, Kennedy, Isaac, Kerubo, Masinde, Brent, wow, Sintreds, Wairimu, and the rest of us. So the essence of these meetings is to help us to cultivate the aspect of discipline and consistency. Through these sessions, you'll be able to learn my approach and our trading community approach in terms of doing analysis. So once more time, confirm if you can see my trading view screen. Kindly, I want all of you guys to confirm from your end if you can be able to see my screen. Once more, confirm if you can be able to see my screen so that I know we are all together. Once more, if you're seeing my screen. Okay, perfect. So one of the most important things that will help you to succeed in this financial market is to combine both technicals and fundamentals to consider for you to be able to make decisions. So that's why it's a culture for me to every day before I get into the technicals, I have to check what do we have the economic calendar. So this is the week of 10th May to 16th May. Today being a Monday, on our red folder, we don't have any high impact news. I want you to understand that as much as we normally have our analysis, as much as we have our analysis, it's important to know that fundamentals moves the market. We normally use technical analysis to know where to enter, where to put our stop levels, where to put our targets. But what basically moves the market are the fundamentals, because we are trading the global economies. So today being a Monday, we don't have anything on our economic calendar, which means it's going to be a slow day. We really don't have much momentum, but if try to customize to the low, or rather the medium impact news, let's just check what we have. We only have CPI for this currency. So still it remains to be a bit slow day with no momentum, right? So tomorrow is on a Tuesday, going to have CPI during the New York session. Going to be having CPI during the New York session. Going to be having CPI during the New York session, which will be at 3:30 p.m. CPI is very important. That means significant moves for the dollar. And then on Wednesday, again, during the that is 8:30 a.m. New York time, 3:30 p.m. Kenyan time, going to have PPI, also important for the dollar. On Thursday, we're having a whole day bank holiday for CHF. I know Elvis likes trading JPY, CHF. It's a good pair. It moves very well. The same Thursday, 9 in the morning, going to have GDP for the, what do you call it? For the pound. Then bank holiday for Euro, French bank holiday, Germany bank holiday as well for the Euro. And then 3:30 p.m., that is 8:30 a.m. New York time, we shall be having retail sales. So basically, it's going to be a busy week for the dollar. So expect some good moves for the dollar pairs from tomorrow, right? So that is how the week looks like. So let's jump into the technicals. I'm going to give you a few tips and secrets that you're supposed to use when you're doing your analysis every single day, every single week, whether you're a swing trader, whether you're an intraday trader, even a scalper. So we start with the dollar index. I'm going to start with the dollar index. And I want us to look at some of the most important things. So I will talk about the dollar index. I'll talk about a few dollar pairs. I'll jump into a few JPY pairs. Then I will finish up with gold. So in case you have any question or you have any pair on your watch list that maybe you want us to look at, feel free to go to the chat section and drop it for me there so that we can break it together. So the purpose of this meeting is just to have a weekly outlook in terms of direction and also maybe to spot out some potential intraday levels for today and the upcoming days. So like when I'm doing my analysis, I like deleting everything so that I can explain all the analysis so that guys can get a clear picture of what you have. So looking at this is actually like the second week of the month. Today is it's like the second week of May. Perfect, the second week of May. So when you look at the dollar index, I'll mark the important levels. Then I'll narrow down to important point of interest. So we have this level that is 100.434 level. It's a key level which has been significant for so many months from the previous years, 2023, 2022, 2024 last year, and then the other year, but one, and then 2025, that's when dollar broke below the 100.4 levels. And for almost the whole of last year up to where we are today, dollar has been ranging. The dollar has been ranging this price level between 100 to 95. I hope you guys are following. Dollar has been ranging from 100 to 95. That's from the monthly perspective. So which means when you look at the long-term perspective, we had this major, let me see, we had this major, we had this major BOS that happened way back in 2022. And from this breakout structure, we had this extreme high. I hope you're looking at my screen. We had this extreme high. Sorry for that. So I was saying we have this breakout structure, then we have this major high, right? So this is the major move for the dollar. This is the major move. I want to highlight it. So this is the major move for the dollar. So right now, we have this extreme high, and we have this extreme low. So all of this is like an internal structure. This is an internal structure, right? That is from the swinging perspective. Now, when you try to narrow down to the minor structures that are within the monthly structure, the major structure, we found this high, and right now we have this particular low. We have that high. Okay, let me draw it a bit better. So we have this high. We have this high. We have this low issue. When you're marking a high or a low, make sure you have two candles, bullish and bearish, or bearish and bullish, depending on case scenario. Make sure you have two candles and you mark the tip of the wick of either of the bullish or the bearish candle after you spot two candles. So we have that high and we have that low. Since price was able to break to the low, to the low, like to the downside, on this area we had support. Price was able to be supported here a couple of times, and then the market was able to drop to the downside. There's this candle of May, 1st of May, I think the month of May, 2025 last year. It went up, retested this area where we had support that turned, now this support turned to be resistance, and then price has been trading below that level, right? Now, when we check on the weekly time frame, we still find that we are still on a bearish trend. We are still on a bearish trend. That is our high, and this is our low. We're still on a bearish trend. But price has a tendency of seeking liquidities from time to time. So we have this level of liquidity. If you go to higher time frame, that is monthly, you realize we have weak overlaps here, right? When you're talking about weak overlaps, these are key levels. These are zones from higher time frame, you narrow down to the lower time frame, you're going to spot structures. And these structures are very significant. Those are areas where we're supposed to look for our entries. So we have that structure as a weak overlap. We also have this structure as a weak overlap, which is a key level, right? Now, when you narrow down to weekly time frame, you will spot we have some candles there. So this is an important structure. So very soon, once price comes in, we're going to expect a reaction. Since I'm using the monthly time frame, I'm going to follow the daily cycle of price. So we have the weekly time frame, and from the weekly time frame, I believe this is the lowest point still, and we had these high. Okay, let me circle them. So we have this high, we have this low. Since there's no body candlestick that has closed below here, so still this maintains to be our valid low. Again, from this swing point, let me call this is like a low high. Then we have this low low. Price has never, there's no body candlestick that has closed below that. So which means we are still on a bearish trend until the moment you're going to have price breaking above around 101. That's when we're going to have a major shift on the weekly time frame, right? That's when you're going to have a major shift on the weekly time frame. I believe you guys are still on and you are watching my screen. So we have this level, which is significant. So as we go on, you guys are going to learn about the liquidation shift coordination skeleton, how price moves from one time frame to the other, and what is the relationship from one time frame to the other. So tuko na hii level ya hapa juu na hapo. Sawa. That is based on the weekly time frame. So if you narrow down to the daily time frame now, you realize that still now when you look at the daily time frame, we have this was our extreme high. We had this low, another high, then low. Then we have this internal structure. And now, from this internal structure, since this was our last major high, price was in a position to do what? To break above this level. So as far as I'm concerned, we call this a major shift. Other people I know they call this a change of character, but this is what we call a shift. So since we have a shift, what the dollar is currently doing is seeking liquidities that have not been mitigated, or rather liquidities that have not been consumed. So we have this level where price has been reacting from for a couple of days. Then we have this lower level, and then we have this structure. So I want to talk about these levels. Then I'm going to explain to you what I'm looking forward to throughout this week and what is the direction of the dollar. All right? Are we following? Are you guys following? Are we following? So let me mark these structures, then I'm going to explain. Yeah, we have this structure. Also have this structure here. Validation, invalidation point, validation, validation point. Okay. It's here. Okay. All right. So I want us to investigate. This move, and this move is going to guide us on what's happening with the current structures. So I want us to investigate this move so that we get to understand what's happening. So this is a bullish structure, right? And this bullish structure, it has got some swing points which are very significant. So if I turn my chart into a line graph, that's how I can be able to see things very well. We had this low, and this low created this high, right? So you have these candles are very weird, but you can use this. So kona hiyo, perfect. So we have this high, which is giving us a break of structure. Then to the downside, we have a shift altogether. Because if you understand the market structure very well, when price is forming, let's say, higher highs and higher lows, we expect that sequence to continue with the direction of the trend. But the moment price comes and we have candlestick body closing below the previous major swing point that we had, that means the direction of the trend has changed. So in this case, the direction of the trend has changed from this bullish structure to the bearish structure. But since we have this BOS, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as my strategy is concerned, so I'm looking forward to see price come to consume all the liquidities that are left before the market pushes to the upside. So we have this structure whereby price has tapped on it, and probably we might even be going lower. We might be going lower to this structure here as well. We're going to investigate that as well on the lower time frame, 4 hours and 1 hour. And then we also have this structure here happen. So right now, my interest is on this structure and this one, in terms of from a higher time frame perspective, rather swinging perspective. So I'm looking forward to see price come lower, either to this level or to this level. So there's what we call direct liquidity consumption and indirect liquidity consumption, right? Now, last week it was last week price was a bit bullish. You look at these candles, but it was also having some sort of ranging. So if you narrow down to 4 hours, we first of all have to mark this imbalance that is here. As we actually price retraced back, it went down. So we check 4 hours, then we go to 1 hour. So on the 4 hours, okay, remember on the daily time frame, these are our major areas of interest. Those are our major areas of interest. We're going to investigate on the lower time frame. Did the liquidity consumption happen, so that we know the last area that we are left with, where we have high chances of price going to. So on the 4 hours time frame, when you investigate the structure as well, the daily we are bearish and the price is going to seek liquidity. So let's use the 4 hour structure. So in the 4 hour structure, we have this bullish move, right? Then we have this bearish move. I think that is clear. Now, from this bullish move, price was able to create. We had let's start with this. We had this low and high, low. We have major and minor structures, and then we have this. We have this. So the moment this candle closed below this, these are clear indication that we're going to be bearish. Price was able to retrace back to this pure bearish level. For those who understand those terms, I'd rather call these a flip level. So price was in a position to tap on this. Now we are still bearish. So after creating this low, let me say this low, the market was able to come back here. But we have not yet again confirmed this structure by having probably a body candlestick closure below this level. So what you're supposed to do at the moment, for us to have a better confirmation, we have to wait for a body candlestick to close below here so that we can continue going lower. But before that, I want to take you back to this. Last week, we had NFP. Last week was on 8th. We had NFP data. And based on how the data came out, the previous data was 185K in terms of jobs, and the forecast was 65K. So the data came by 115, which means this was positive. This was positive for the dollar. I hope that is clear to you guys. I hope that is very clear. So the data was 65, the forecast, but the data came out. So they expected data to be lower than the previous, but the data, as much as it was lower than the previous, but the forecast, it came positive for the dollar. Somebody's talking? All right. Now, I hope you guys are keenly following on what I'm showing you. So for the intraday perspective, I want you to get this clearly. For the intraday perspective, the structure of the market is what tells you the story. You cannot lie on that. So you have already had price doing some sort of shift here. So two things. For us to have buys, more sales, we have to wait. Okay, after that, we have what you call an outside formation. That outside formation is the whole of this structure. Those who understand what I'm talking about. So the whole of this structure is what you call an outside formation. So that simply means this is my area of liquidity on 4 hours time frame. Area of liquidity on 4 hours time frame. This is my area of liquidity on 4 hours time frame. So first of all, since price had already done some sort of shift, just label it. Since price did some sort of shift, so I'm going to focus on seeing what happens within this zone. So can mark all of that is an area of liquidity, which is an outside formation. So I want to refine this area and show you potential zones for more sales. I want to refine this area to show you more potential zones for sales for intraday. The good thing about HFM, you can trade dollar index. So that's why it's important. Also, I do analysis for this and also for execution. So we narrow down to 4 hours, but before that, we have to check on the 1 hour time frame. So when you check on the 1 hour time frame, when this price was coming after the shift on 4 hours, we see that we had this high. This is like a low high. It created this low, another one here, that created this low, this one, and all that. Now, we have this structure that was broken to the downside. I'm using now what you call FTAs for double confirmation to get to understand what price is doing on the lower time frame. So, tukiangalia hii BOS ya hapa chini as our major low, huku juu tuko na other structures ambazo hazijakuwa consumed. So we have this level, we have this structure here that we're going to consider for refinement. So that's my extreme areas of liquidity. Now, we have this BOS here, and then we have this shift here on 1 hour. So price is doing liquidation on the lower time frame. So it has done first liquidation. This is the first liquidation. So we had this structure, this pullback, continuation. So this is first liquidation as far as I'm concerned. Then these are internal liquidations. So I'm looking forward to see dollar buying to this level, and then we'll start selling. So I'll go back and clarify this. On the daily time frame, we are bearish, coming to look at this, coming to consume these liquidities. On the lower time frame for intradays, the lower time frame for the lower time frame for the intradays, we are looking forward to see price. You know, the problem whenever we have these gaps, price doesn't really give us clear structures. But let me see. So we have this, okay, it's like a shift with an inside formation. So we are looking forward to see price come to this level and push up. So that's like around 90, that's like 97.600 levels. So that's the zone you're looking forward to see the dollar coming to, and buy to this level, and then we sell. So if you're doing intradays today, on pairs like USD JPY, USD CAD, you're going to follow the structure of the dollar index. So that simply means when you go to those pairs, you're going to spot potential intraday buys before we sell. You know, as a trader, sometimes I find different traders with different perspectives. I always say this: you need first of all to identify what are you looking for in the market, and what kind of a trader are you? Are you an intraday trader? Are you a scalper? Are you a swinger? And get to know what you're looking for. At the end of the day, the most important thing is risk to reward ratio. Once you do analysis and you know the direction, whether it's a short-term opportunity or a long-term opportunity, it's identify your entries, identify your exit in terms of risk, and identify your exits in terms of TP. Once you have that, the next thing is to calculate risk based on the capital, based on the size of your capital, and then do the execution. Somebody is writing on the screen. Please stop that. Rather, I'll remove you from this meeting. All right, so that is it. So in short, we are bearish on the dollar on higher time frame, and we are going to look for the daily areas of liquidity to be consumed before we continue with the bullish trend. So when I'm saying that, you need to use common sense and logic to know where to execute trades, if it's intradays and if it's swing trades. So as you go on through the week, I'm going to give out some more breakdown. Now, so let me narrow down to other pairs. I'll start by Euro USD. Let me start with the Pound USD. Start with Pound USD. Oh, this was a setup that we had last week. Those guys were in my inner circle. Remember, I shared this, and this setup has delivered. But anyway, let's focus on what we are looking for now. Let us focus on what we are looking for now. So let's go back to the daily time frame. I'll delete everything so that we start analysis from scratch. So I'll also give the swinging perspective and the intraday perspective. So from the swinging perspective, this level is significant. Why? These are things that happened so many months ago in 2022. And the reason why this level is significant is because before, if you even go to the daily time frame, you realize price was supported here a couple of times before the market broke to the downside. And the market has taken so many months to come back, and it has retested here. Back up, I believe, tunaelewa. Price has come to this level, na imeweza kufanya nini? Retest. It has started here the first time, that was in June last year. Second time, July last year. Third time, September. Fourth time, January this year. Fifth time, February this year. That's where we are. When a zone is also tested a couple of times, it becomes weaker. When a zone is tested a couple of times, it becomes weaker, right? So that's why we've been able to have those couple of reactions. So I think I'll just focus on mid-term or rather short-term swings than the long-term swings. Huh? So let's scrutinize the recent structures that we have. Starting from here, we have this area of liquidity. We have a validation, an invalidation point. Price was able to do a BOS in the monthly time frame. Price was able to do a break of structure in the monthly time frame using this candle. So we have that break of structure, bullish BOS, and then the market has been reacting on this area of liquidity, call it variation B levels. So price has been reacting on this level, and the market has been trading above this breakout structure, but it has not taken the high on the monthly time frame with a candle body closure. So you have this high from this to high ya hapa. All right. So we have that high. Now, if I narrow down to weekly time frame, we have this trend. Okay. We have this trend. And from this trend, we have these swing points. We have this swing point. Let me label it. We have these like higher low, here upper. These are internal structures, or rather the minor structures. We have another higher low. Then there's this high, then another high. So which means we also have this other low somewhere here, higher low. Okay. From those structures, the market came, consumed this area of liquidity, came lower, reacted on this structure that if you go to the daily time frame and 4 hours, you'll be able to see it's the key level in terms of week overlap. And price has been, playing along these key levels upper due. These are an example of high-low key level. Price ikakuja ikatap kwa hiyo key level, ikadrop again, ikatap, although this reaction was above in terms of week. And then here we are. So if you investigate the recent structure that we have, you realize that we had this low, and then from this low, we have this high. From that high, we had this low. And from this low, we had this extreme high. Sorry. So which means this is a BOS, and this is our validation point, and this is our invalidation point. So price has invalidated our buys by forming a shift. I need to get that clear. Price has invalidated our buys by having a candle closing below that zone. So hence we have a shift here on our weekly time frame with this candle. So this is a shift point. Only ambao wamezoea change of character, that's the same thing, right? And from that, we have, let me remove these lines to avoid confusion, make my chart a bit clearer. So from that shift, we have this type of liquidity, that is type 5 area of liquidity. Other people call that an order block. Others call it simple price action, that is bearish engulfing candlestick. So this one is significant. This one is significant. Above it, we have liquidity that is in form of rejection. So we're going to investigate those two zones. So I'm trying to give you a long-term perspective. So for pairs like GU, Euro USD, we're going to have price coming to consume all liquidities, and then we go for long-term sales. Then for the dollar index, we're going to come and consume liquidity and go for long-term buys. But at the end of the day, I'm also going to give out the intraday levels and zones that we're going to focus so much on looking for short-term opportunities for intradays. So are we still on, guys? Just confirm on the chat section if you're flowing very well. Confirm on the chat section if you're flowing very well. If you've been following keenly, we are 30 of us, or rather 29. Just confirm on the chat section. Go to the chat section and confirm for me. Come out tunafuatilia. You know, when you're doing a session online, sometimes you might be making noise and even people may be there. You're wasting your time and no one is following. I just want to see more confirmation on the chat section so that I know we're together. I can see Hilary, Isaac, Dumbe, Charity. Wow. And also see Collins, Kipto, Ran, Cheriot. Oh, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So let's go on. I can see Joseph, Kerubo. Wow, that's nice. So let's go on. So we have a shift. And guys, as long as you'll be joining these sessions, you're going to learn something to do with how price moves. Once you master the liquidation flow, or rather the liquidation cycles, your life is going to be easy. You need to understand market structure and understand liquidation, how price delivers liquidity. So here we are. Okay, we're having this area of liquidity. So let me use my color code, weekly time frame. To avoid confusion, weekly is color blue. So I'll mark both the liquidities that we have, then we're going to investigate. So then this is, the daily is always green for me. We avoid confusion. Those guys who are in my mentorship, I'm going to give you a template for color codes to help you know how to coordinate time frame. So we have a shift, then we have, let me draw this here. This is weekly. Time frame. Okay, so tuko na weekly time frame, color codes, then I'll narrow down to the daily time frame to show you how price delivers liquidity. So tuko na hii area, wengine wataita order block, simple price action, bearish engulfing candlestick. Our strategy, type 5 area of liquidity. So now we narrow down to daily before we go to 4 hours. We have to compare both time frames. So when you go to the daily time frame, the reason as to why price came to tap on 1.31746 is because we had a very, we had a flip level. We had a flip level here. If you turn to the line graph, you'll see it very well. We had a flip level. That's why price tapped there. So it's like more of a failed liquidity engineering. It's more of a failed liquidity engineering. Anytime you spot failed liquidity engineering, it's the best setup for the opposite direction. Okay, so we come here, we see we have these are now the daily time frame. We have this bearish trend, which has also its lows and highs. So you're gonna have its swing points. I'm going to mark where we have the shifts, rather the change of characters, what people are used to. So tuko na hii low, This is the best one to mark. So we have this low where we had a break of structure. We also had another break of structure here. And then from that break of structure, we had that break of structure, this is low created this high. So this is where we have our shift. And this shift has got what we call an area of liquidity, which is an inside formation, this one here. So that simply means as much as this price is moving on the daily time frame to the upside, we are looking forward to see. I want you guys to be keen on this. This is now very important. Let me repeat. Why I'm doing all this. Use this. So tuko na hii ni BOS kwa daily time frame, sawa? To the downside, the bearish trend. So let me label it bearish breakout structure. And then from that bearish breakout structure, we had our shift here on the daily time frame. So I'll show you how to do time frame coordination. We have that. So that is our shift on the daily time frame. But as much as this price is moving, it's going for the weekly areas of liquidity. I mentioned a type we call type 1. So you see this line. This is where we had our weekly rejection. Let me make it a bit thicker for difference. So the blue line, the thicker blue line, is a weak rejection on the weekly time frame. So if I go to the weekly time frame, you'll see the rejection, right? When I narrow down to this one, to the daily time frame, we had a bearish engulfing. We had a bearish, sorry. It's a key level, perfect. Price is going to buy to that level. So we had the weekly, it's a bearish engulfing, or rather order block, or two order blocks. And then the daily time frame, it's a whole structure. There's what we call an formation. We call it I for F. An inside formation that has another formation inside. That's why E price in a reactor kwa structures hapa. That's why price in a reactor kwa structure. So for now, my interest is going to shift from this on the rejection to this structure ya juu. So hapa ndio interest yangu itakuwa. And then so price is expected to do liquidation consumption before we continue with the trend. So two things. For the long-term perspective, I'm still looking forward to see this market come here, and then we're going to have a long-term sell, L1. But for now, on the intraday levels, I want to mark the structures. So we're going to mark, this is type 3. So I'm going to mark this key level. So I'll mark this validation, and it's in validation point, right? So validation, and it's in validation point for that structure. Kuna watu wanajua wanaelewa, kuna wenye waelewi, it's okay, you'll still learn, eh? So validation and invalidation point. I think I'm taking much time, so I am going to rush for the next few pairs. So let us investigate the lower time frame and get to understand what is happening from here to here and what's going to happen from the downside. So we're going to jump into 4 hours time frame and then 1 hour. So we go to 4 hours time frame. The 4 hours time frame. The 4 hours time frame. I want you guys to know that price will always go for liquidity. Price will always go for liquidity. So in the 4 hours time frame, inside our area of liquidity that was on the weekly time frame, we have a structure that has not been consumed, which is the structure, this type. We call this type, this is type 1 area of liquidity. What order block, in order block, price action, simple, bearish engulfing candlestick. So that is the area I'm expecting price to shoot to before we think of massive sells, all right? Higher. For the recent structures where price is at the moment, inside this level, so you're going to understand the aspect of liquidity consumption. Price came consumed this by tapping. Let me confirm very well. Just going to find guesswork. So price, did really price consume this structure? Yes, there was a tap. Then we have this structure. Did price tapped? Yes. You have no business there. Kuchini price imekuja, imetap. So hapa ndio tuko na area hii imechukuliwa. So hapa ndio tuko na biz. This is where we have business. So I'll refine this to this structure, which is an order block or two order blocks. Bearish engulfing candlestick, type 1 area of liquidity based on our strategy. Now, hapo ndio tuna price imekuja imetap, imeenda. So let's now come to the most recent structure that we have. When you look at the most recent structure, the market is showing us a bullish direction. And we have this area of liquidity. So let me mark all the structures as well. So we have this high, low, high, low, perfect. So which means we have this, then that we have this, and we have our area of liquidity, which is type 1. So price did first liquidation after BOS. So I'm looking forward to see GBP/USD to continue buying. I'm looking forward to see it continue buying. Then we're going to have a massive sell. But before it buys, there are areas of liquidities that are on 4 hours that have not been consumed. So I'll go to H1 to confirm. And when I go to H1, I have this area of liquidity. I also have this structure. So we're going to start with this before anything. So on the 1 hour time frame, I'm able to see this structure here. So to connect easy high, low, high, low, high, low, high. Other structure, we have a low, high. So here we have a shift. And from that shift, we are seeing price came all the way to tap there, crazy momentum. So I'm looking for intradays. I'm looking for sales. 2 levels that are going to look for sales. So you also need to understand the nature of the candlestick formation, or rather the momentum aspect. So to connect level. So hapa ndio expect kuona sales. Since we have an area here as well, which is a type 5. So those are my 2 levels of interest for the intraday. So I'll be looking forward to see price selling from that level to come here before we buy this level. And then we sell. So if I go back to the daily time frame, you realize that price will be coming near the candles open before it goes to the next key levels. Then now we're going to go lower to come and consume liquidities that are within this structure. So I'm just showing you a liquidity convoy cycle skeleton in real time. So tukirudi kwenye 1 hour, just doing a focus, I'm not giving signals. So now you use common sense based on what you know in terms of entries to execute. But for the inner circle, I'm going to give you the exact trade entries level. So tuko na hiyo level, so I expect price sell kutoka hapo, ikuje kwa hii liquidity. It could even come to this, but this is where we're going to first have our first targets. So hapo tuko sambamba. So let me look at, because of time, I'm having some appointments. It's 10. Wow. Let me spend the next 15 minutes talk about gold. Alafu nita summarize. Henry, Kim, Sage, I don't know if you guys are in this meeting. If you're in this meeting, confirm on the chat section so that I can give you a chance to say something. Okay, so tuende kwa Let's go on gold. Let's look at gold. Pairs ni mingi, but you can't look at all the pairs. But with whatever you're doing, you're gonna get some guidance. Those guys who are based in Eldoret can always visit us at our office for consultation. If you need access, unahitaji usaidizi, you can always visit us at our office. I'm going to drop my number. You only visit our office by appointment. You can just come. So I'll drop my number. Kama unahitaji usaidizi mahali, kama uko Eldoret, you can always visit us. Sawa sawa. Okay, so let's look at gold. On Friday during NFP, we made some money. Made some good money. I'm still eating that money up to today. Anyway, I'm just kidding. So, let us look at gold. I'll give the long-term perspective and the short-term perspective. So, we start with the monthly time frame. Nataka kujifunza kitu moja about price movement. Number one, for gold. So we have a couple of key levels. This key level has not been assumed yet. So just we go to my colors. Okay. So kuna hii key level ya hapa. Then this one price has already tapped on it, and this one. So the whole of this week, it's an area of liquidity whereby we expect price to come and consume all the either kama kuna any liquidity niko kwa hiyo week. Tutaiangalia kwa time frames za chini tuone nini kwa hapa ndani. Huko ndio price itakuja ifeel your week. So anytime you see a rejection, area of liquidity. So that's monthly time frame. So the highest price level gold has gone to is this. Okay, I know you guys can see this week, but I'll mark this for now. 54.20. So tuende kwenye weekly time frame to investigate tuone nini inafanyika. So when you look at the weekly time frame, you see this momentum that was coming here, and from that momentum, price came and tapped on this. Haikuguza the body, but it will tap kwa. This is the exact open close I just tap, which means we still have business here. So market is still gonna come here. So to corner your week. That is on the weekly time frame. And we have now we can even now narrow down to this rejection. So you need area of liquidity bado kujiwa. Pia ni key level hapa chini. So we go to daily time frame. Okay, the structures. First liquidation, perfect. So daily time frame. On the daily time frame, guys, when you're doing analysis, don't be blind. Make sure you look at everything depending on what kind of a trader you are, whether when it's swinger, scalper, intraday, and all that. So from the upside, this is our major high, this specific structure. This is our major low. So whatever is happening in between here is only minor or other internal structures. Elewana? So from this high, we had this lower low, then we had a lower high. On other brokers, there's a structure here, so which means this is also another important area. Then we have this low, specifically on the daily time frame. So anyone who is trading in here using the daily time frame, we have not really had a confirmation of change of direction. But based on the previous structure here, we have this confirmation here. I'll need to use a good line. Look when clear structures. Mimi wanaambia watu, the market, the structure is what to confirm. Sitaki kufanya guesswork. Structure inatuambia ngokwe kweli. Don't trade with hope and imaginations. Just trade with what the structure tells you. Perfect. So hapa, sorry. Okay, tuko na hiyo so tuko na hii EOS to the downside by these candles. Then hiyo ni ya kutuconfirmia bearish structure. So nitaonyesha liquidation yenye inaenda kufanyika hapa because lazima price iende liquidity ndio iweze kuendelea na trend. Sawa. Now, as much as you have that, price lazima ifanye pullback ikuje ichukue. Unaona structure kama this is the most immediate structure. So we have this level. I think I talked about this last week. So we have this level, validation and validation, and then we have this level. I'm yet to confirm with Ohanda. Tuone kama kuna candle hapo. So tuangalie kwa Ohanda on the same time frame, daily time frame. Clear. Let's look at FXM. I mean FXM. Yeah, perfect. So unaona kwa FXM tuko na hii blue candle. So that's why sometimes when I do analysis on higher time frame, make sure you also cross check on other servers. So tuko na hii area which is significant. That is a type 5 area of liquidity. So let me go to forex.com. I like using it because it's gonna clean candles. It has got some clean candles. And it is lucky. Forex.com. Perfect. So hii candle yenye tuko nayo hapa ambayo unaona huku, sorry. What's wrong with my trading view? Trading view ameanza ku okay, sawa. Unaona tukiwa kwa hiyo broker, these are very perfect. It's seen as well. So which means this area, let me use lines to avoid confusion. So this area is significant. This area is significant. Askura, are you in this meeting? This area is significant. So we go back to daily time frame. So I want to mark the major important zones before we narrow down to the lower time frame. Ukitrade unajua direction ni wapi. So tuko na hiyo structure na tuko na hii. I'll mark all the more important structures. So tuko na hiyo. We have these. This is a type 5. So which means in this case scenario, so this is an outside formation. So we're going to consider all these structures. So PIE, tanikienda kwa line graph, in the outside formation, clear one. In the outside formation. So nataka to scrutinize all these structures alafu ndio to narrow down kwa lot. So tuko na hii structure 5278 to 5420. Alafu tuko na structure ya 5242 to 5080, and then tuko na 5044 to 4978. We're going to refine all of them. So from the daily perspective, we have this to the downside. Major. Of course, you have minor, major and minor structure. So, which means we are going to buy gold. You're going to buy, but buy up to where? Me huwa nakasirika sana mtu akiniambia we are buying or selling, but they don't know why are they selling and where are you selling from to where. You need to know. So if you're going to buy, we're going to buy to, this is the first area that we need to observe. Let's say 5,000 levels, 5,000 USD price levels on gold. So I want us to narrow down to lower time frame, tuweze kuscrutinize na kuinvestigate, tuangalie ni tunaendelea kubuy ama tunaendelea kusell. Kuna anything that has changed on the lower time frame. So since we go based on target, so I'm not interested with these structures. So let's focus on the recent structures. So we're going to focus on this. And then to the lower side, we're going to focus on zinc price coming lower to this rejection. Tuko bado kwenye daily. So major areas of liquidity yenye tunafaa kuwa interested nayo in terms of movements, either price ikuje kwa hii AOL ama ikuje hapa. Kama unataka kuswing gold, sawa? Maybe this week. So now we can narrow down to 4 hours before we go to H1. So in the 4 hours time frame, we want to look at the structures that we have. Number one, we had this high that broke this structure, right? And since then, price came and did a major shift here. All right, after doing the major shift, before that, price ilikuwa ishaanza create liquidation zake on the lower time frame. Now, when I'm talking about those liquidation, I'm talking about this structure with this inside formation. That's why I know we're enjoying this analysis. Kuna dust, which is okay. That's why if you want to understand our strategy, it's important to enroll to our mentorship. So, kuna structure, if you love this strategy, price ikakujeka, ika mitigate this structure, ikaanza create other liquidations. Kakuja ika-create liquidation, ikapanda juu, price ikakuja ika-consume structure, ikaenda juu tena, ika-create structure ya hapa, ika-consume, ikapanda, ika-consume structure na hii week, ika-consume pia structure after kupanda na hii. And then after all that, ikaanza create structures zingine hapa, ikakuwa consumed, another structure ilikuja consume na hii week, but ilikuwa ime-break hapa juu. Right? So as far as I'm concerned, taka tusikize hapa vizuri sana. As far as how our strategy is concerned, so the only structure that I'm seeing at the moment, if we'll ever sell massively, I expect a reaction. Right? The only reaction I expect is here. Sorry, it is here. I don't no longer need this. So I expect price to either react on this, so we'll still go lower and investigate this week. So my first reaction, kama hii market itaamua kusell, hii move ya sai ikuje, I expect a crazy reaction at this level of 43.81. I'll explain later why. Now, if I go back to the daily time frame, where I've marked, it's a key level. It's a key level. There are things you cannot see on higher time frame until you go to the lower time. So these are key levels where I expect price to come and tap and push the upside. The lower. So price ilikuwa ina create these internal highs and lows. So kwa daily time frame pia imekuja ikafanya nini? Ikavunja hapa. That I think at the office we are having a discussion with the traders, and we said, I remember 83 somewhere, if I'm not wrong. I don't forget 47, 80 something, if I'm not wrong. Not sure if it tapped. So but kuna hizi structures hapa kwa daily time frame. That's why tuko na current reaction. So if price will come 43.79, but I'm going to still investigate the lower time frame below 4 hours to angalia nini tuko na hapa. So tukirudi kwa 4 hours, let us now look at the current structure. So hii price ilikuja ku tap kwa hii liquidity ya hapa na ikapanda, and then after imetap, hii sasa naongelea tunaitanga entry type 1 liquidity flow confirmation. So we had somebody is talking, please mute your mic. Whoever is talking, mute your mic, please. Ukiwa kwa meeting unakuwa na adabu. Kiomboi Tagoi, please mute your mic. When you're in a meeting, you make sure you mute your mic to avoid disturb what. Okay, so I was talking about, okay, distractions inafanya hata mimi ninachanganyikiwa. Anyway, ni sawa. So tuko na hii level, alafu this is the last high that created this low. So this is where we had our shift on 4 hours. Really, I hope tuko sambamba. Okay. So hapa ni Perfect. So we had our shift here. Shift. So we have our shift, that area. Last week, I had these buys from here. I'll also do a recap on that so that guys can learn. In holding that, ilitoka siku ya NFP, Friday. So, tuko na in the POS to the downside. We need to know how to mark a shift. So, that's why this price came to consume this structure, and it never violated our, as long as there's no body candlestick closure below that level, there's still buyers are in control. But kama kungekuwa na body closure below that, that means sellers are going to reclaim the movement to the downside. Now, so we have a shift inside formation. Price created some structure here. This is an inside formation. So which means the current bearish move, price inakuja hapa. So today, we're looking forward to see probably gold to come here. But before coming to that level, tuko na hii impure liquidity level. Price ilikuwa rejected hapa to the downside before ivunje. So we might have a retest on this. So you know you're trading in probabilities. So I'll still maintain the 4 hours before I go to 1 hour. So price ikifanya shift for 4 hours inafaa fulfill weekly key levels. So inamaanisha ikuja hapa ndani, going to target this before you go there. So I'll confirm on the daily time frame. Perfect. Daily candle momentum, boom, above that. So 2 levels that we're going to look for buys today, or rather this week. You know, I always tell members, you need to be flexible. Market conditions keeps on changing. Unaweza analyze useme direction hivi, kesho usikie state of affairs zimefunguliwa, vitu zimestabilize, you know, the market keeps on changing. So that's why as a trader, that's why the aspect of emotions, psychology na kwa ngumu kwa trader, but ukisha master hiyo, life is going to be easy. We might do this analysis. Tomorrow, everything changes. We go based on what the market communicates to us. We go based on what the market communicates to us. That's why we talk about flexibility, right? Haufai kuwa too rigid. Nafaa market ikikwambia story ndio hii, unafuata story inakwambia. Sawa? Haya. So tuko na hii liona kwa lower time frame. Na hii momentum candle ya tarehe 6 the other week ilivunja juu. Na saizi the aspect of liquidation. This is daily. So I'm going to 1 hour and I'm going to show you how price is going to come to this level and how price is going to this level. Let me do it properly. Yeah, so I'm going to confirm. Let me confirm something. For daily, our key level. Price will move from one area of liquidity to the other. So to connect the key levels. So let me go to weekly. Perfect. So just to mark here hapa. Any weekly key level. Alafu tukisha mark hiyo tuende kwa daily, tuone key level ya daily iko wapi. Perfect. I think that's the first key level we're going to start with, or even this one here. This is an example of open close, wale ambao wana understand open close key level. And then hapa tuko na hii structure. That is type gani? Type 5. So that's why you have this direction. So whatever price is doing right now, so daily we go to 1 hour. Then we go to 1 hour. For us in a inside formation. Na kuna hii level ya impure liquidity. So I'll mark it in that manner and then I'll go to H1. Before I go to H1, I want to also confirm huku. Very important. Before, so price has done a shift on 4 hours. So kulikuwa na hii low then hilo imevunjwa na hii candle za hapa. So which means we'll continue selling. But we might have a reaction on 46, 46.32, might have a reaction because of the momentum. Learn. But this is the structure that caused this momentum. So we'll have a slight reaction, then we come lower. So you don't have to angalia kwa H1. 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame. So let me just remove these to avoid confusion. Nichore hizi structure vizuri. So invalidation point. Karen, are you in this meeting? Irene, and so atoya hapo, tunakuja hapa. So tukienda kwa H1, Brent, I saw you in the meeting. I hope you're still there. I'll give you a chance to say 1 to 3 things. So tukona hii hizi structures kuchini, hizi zimekuwa tested, hii pia imekuwa tested, hii imetestiwa. So the only area tumebakia nayo ni hii. Perfect. Very nice. I like when I see clean structures. A bit of high confidence. So on the 1 hour time frame, when you confirm the aspect of liquidation, number 1, we had a BOS hapa. Hii inanipea type 1 entry model. Kuna BOS hapo. So then boom. So we had a shift. Then after shift, hey, I wish how comes I didn't take this, but it's cool. I won't lie, guys. I didn't wake up. I normally wake up. I wake up very early, but today I had a lot of engagements. Easy sales are zingeni watch. Easy tungekula easy. But anyway, it's okay. Sometimes you don't have to take all the moves. You don't have to trade every time. You still have a whole week. Hii wiki watu wa copy trading, kuwe ready. Hii wiki nao lazima ni watengenezea at least 15% and above. Watu wa copy trading, ukae rada. Taanza kuona pesa kwa accounts. So okay, so kuna hiyo. So after, I want you to, I'm just doing this for the purpose of helping you guys learn. So hii ni BOS, before nimalize analysis yako. Kemboi, mute your mic, my brother. This is the last warning, Kemboi. Perfect. Kisumbua sasa nitakutoa kwenye mkutano. Please, once you're here, make sure your mic is muted, yeah? So that all of us can learn. So, tuko na hii BOS ya hapa na kuna ya juu. Right? So we have a shift. These are our major shift based on H1. A major shift on H1. For you to have a shift, you must have a break of structure, depending on the direction of where the market is heading to. So bullish, then shift. After the shift, price ilikuja kutap, hii liquidity engineering iko hapa kwa 1 hour. Refine low utapata nitoaje? Kulikuwa na hii liquidity engineering hapa, but ukirefine kwa lower time frame kama 15 minutes, you're gonna see something. Sure. And there's something that I'm talking about. I've not taught you guys what we call comprehensive liquidity engineering. We have simple, comprehensive, then normal. We have like 6 of them, but you don't need to know everything to trade. You can still trade with what you already know. So that's why price react hapa ikaenda. But I have all these structures in my guides. You'll have access to them. So price react hapa, but I want to go to 1 hour and confirm something. So price ishafanya shift. Now from that shift, imetucreatea hii structure yote. Imekuja ikafanya BOS hapa chini. Unaona? And then kwa hii BOS imetufanyia iko na hii structure imetuachia hapa ndani, ambayo in this case tutaita continuational inside formation. Continuational inside formation. On 1 hour after the shift, hii yote inakuwa ni kama na hii yote inakuwa ni kama outside formation, but ndani ya outside formation tuko na inside formation ya continuational moves. So which means for now we are looking forward to see price coming to this level, continue selling to come and facilitate the area. So we're going to have a reaction here that maybe might trigger a bit to the upside, and then we start buying. So for today, as far as I'm concerned, what you're gonna be doing, I'll be looking for sells, then I'll go on with the buys. And the sells that I'm looking for, I'm looking to see price come to 45.79 level. I'm going to do refinement here, and then from there I'll be able to buy. Up to that point, is there anyone who has a question? I think I'm gonna end my analysis here. It's already 4:30. We're supposed to do a 1-hour session. Anyone who has a question, please. Anyone who has a question? If you've been able to get something out of this meeting this morning, please drop a comment on the chat section. As I'm waiting for reactions and questions, somebody, Faith, you are in my inner circle. Don't worry, I'm going to give you an exact entry level, but for the sake of everyone else, we'll do this. Guys, if you want to grow in trading, don't rely on signals. Focus on learning, become independent. What if you're relying on Basweti to give you signal, alafu Basweti amue kuingia missing? Utakuwa unangoja signal wapi? You need to learn and know how to do these things by yourself, so that you don't need to depend on anyone. But since you are in learning, you can be using my trade ideas to make money as you go on with learning. But I insist so much on find a way on learning. In life, whether you're working, whether you're a student, all of us, we have the same 24 hours. What matters is how you manage your time. So you can find a way and learn. Then as time goes by, once you have this skill of trading, now may learn, now know what you're doing. At some point, you're sorted for life. Once you master the skill, I'm not talking about guesswork and gambling. Once you master the skill, you're sorted for life. Because for me, if, for example, I decide to disappear tomorrow for the next 2 years, I'll still make money low-key. No one will even know. But since you are having a community, that's why you have to show up at least every day to keep on mentoring and giving out insights for the purpose of learning and all that. So if you're going to be selling, let me show you 2 areas we're going to focus now. Price ishavunja hapa, momentum. Oh, I don't think it will be coming here really soon, because boom, price come to retest this. So in a manisha, I'm going to refine this to this next level. It's still significant. Price imekuja ku retest after hii momentum candle will retest na hii week. And then tukija kwa the next structure. Let me go fast forward to 15 minutes and get to investigate. See what we have. Okay. Momentum price imekuja ku test kwa, we call this level pure bearish level. That's why price imetap imeenda. So tukihitaji refinement huku juu, tutaangalia zile structure ambazo hazijakuwa consumed, na structure naona ni hiyo. This is the only structure ambayo haijakuwa consumed. So once price comes to that level, let me remove these. So once price comes to that level, thank you so much, Angel. Yes, let me finish. Henry, let me just finish and then I'll give you a chance, whoever is talking. So acha nimaliza alafu nitakupa chance. So tuko na hiyo level ya juu. I go back to H1. Tuko na hii structure ya hapa. Then tuko na hii hapa. Continuational moves. Then the first target. So, I always say the most important thing is risk to reward ratio. If you measure pip range value, in 500, 600 pips, what are you looking? Imagine if you want to stop loss here, seme, bas, tuweke 50. Now, we target 500 pips. That is 1 to 10 already. After that, what else do you want if you are doing intraday? You are risking $50 times 10, that is $500. You're risking $10 times 10, that is $100. You're risking $1,000 times 10, that is 5. Is it 5? No. It's like, is it 5,000? Yeah, $5,000. So as traders, let's learn to embrace the aspect of once you get an opportunity, take action as long as you're confident with what you're looking for. So, if I go back to 4 hours, remember we had this key level, which is our impure liquidity. So I will just summarize this. I'll drop the signals on Discord. So what I need to do is waste time. I'll be looking for sales. My first target is 46.30, but I'll be observing price to see what the market is communicating out throughout the day. We are bullish, and the bullish move you're having is going to facilitate. So hiyo ni level ya kwanza, kuna hii level ya chini. We're going to facilitate the bullish move to come and fulfill the daily liquidity levels. So tusikue tu tuna buy, understand buying from where, selling from where to where. Sawa. Kuna hii level ya chini nilikuwa nimeongelelea ya week, so I'll go to time frame like 15 minutes. We investigate what we have in those zones. Think iko huku chini, yeah. So nikiangalia kwa hiyo week huku ndani, the only structure I'm able to see, I can see liquidity engineering. This one here, I can see this structure will be consumed. So there's liquidity engineering. I can narrow down to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, just to see what we have. Before I give whoever was talking a chance to, I hope my trading view will have perfect value. So hapa ndani, tuonekana tuko na any structure. I think we only have that liquidity engineering. So if the stop loss is big, once price comes here, I'll go to 1 minute, and the stop loss is very big. 800 pips is this 800 pips? So price ikikuja huko chini wakati tafika huko 41,800, I'll be able to go to lower time frame and investigate. So hapa. So levels zenye naangalia ni 43,801 for a long-term perspective. But for now, when I go back to the daily time frame, for us to go on with the buys, so this level is important for daily. Initially, so nitumie different color ndio watu waelewe naangalia nini. Unaona hii level, let me make it a big. Hii level nimemark na thick black line. It's important because it was an area that price was being rejected a couple of times. Market broke up, came retested. So we're going to do liquidations of the lower time frame before we go up to this area, before we go up to that area to facilitate the daily time frame. Probably we might, depending on how price will behave here, we might go higher, or the market might continue even selling lower to come these ones. So usiai kuwa tu uko too rigid. Go with what the market is communicating to you. So those are the things I'm looking at. Either we come here and sell, but if you look at the pip range, that's a lot, over 3,000 pips. That's actually 4,243 pips to that level. Aya, kama tutasell kutoka hapo mpaka huku chini itakuwa almost 9,000 pips. So what you need is, we will say that the market has got almost $7 trillion being moved daily. Unatafuta tu kitu kidogo hapo utoke. So you don't need to hold all that. In a dependent size of your capital, your risk appetite, and your approach. You get a point? So I will summarize by saying this for today. I'll be looking for sales, but once price comes to 46.32, I'll be very keen to see if we're gonna buy from that level or if you're gonna come to the lowest price, because price iko na tendency ya kureact on liquidity levels ikisonga, but kwa sababu kwa 4 hours ishapata confirmation, so price iko na interest ya kukuja either kutap hapa 46.33 ama ikuje 45.79. Either way, I'll take a move. Whoever in our Discord and my inner circle, I'm going to drop signals for you. Tutakula pamoja. Up to that point, I think I'm coming to my end. Whoever was talking, please feel free. Kuna mtu alikuwa anaongea nikamcut short. Who was talking? Thank you so much, Angela. I am back-to-back sessions for the next 3 months. Daily sessions, morning sessions on Discord, Evening sessions, Monday up to Sunday, lazima watu watengeneze pesa. I've been away, got busy with a lot of meetings, so nimerudi. Mambo ya copy trading, back to back. Mambo ya classes, mambo ya everything. We're now fully active together with our team. Red X. So mwenye alikuwa anaongea amepotea. So I think we're going to end here, but before that, I want to make this announcement. If you're within Eldoret, even if you're our students, we're going to, we are open for appointments. Every Tuesday, we normally have classes, but you don't just come to office, you must come by appointment. So on Tuesdays, afternoon, we normally have classes. On Thursday, physical classes, we also have classes. And then we're going back to our weekly meetups for community members every Friday. All the information will be shared within the Discord server. And then, wale ambao wako kwa classes wamekuwa kiendelea, make sure you text me after this. I'm going to plan for appointments for you throughout the week. And then the evening session, the Learn to Trade as You Earn program is going to move on. Today is on Monday, starting tonight at 8 p.m. Please make sure you join. There's a different link for that. I'll be dropping on those. There's a different Zoom link. All the sessions will be recorded. And then for those who are in my inner circle, I'll be sharing trade ideas as I explain them. Every end of the week, we shall be doing recaps for all the setups. Anyone who is interested to enroll for our May intake, May, June, July, I'm dropping my number here right now. Specifically, Kamo Eldoret, I'm going to drop my number here. You can text me, then I'll direct you to our office and you'll be guided. This is my number. Kama auna namba yangu 0701043762. These sessions are personalized. These classes are very personalized for better understanding on how to handle the market. This is my number, Coach Basweti. WhatsApp me if you're interested for our May, June, July intakes. Takupea package yenye takusuit based on whether you're working, whether you're a student. Then from there, we're going to grow together and elevate as a team. Thank you so much. You guys have a lovely Monday and a peaceful week ahead. This recording is on YouTube. You can search for our YouTube channel. It's called E-Tribe Concepts. This one here. You can search for it. Make sure you subscribe and keep following E-Tribe Concept. We only have 714 subscribers. We can go to 1,000, you know. There's a podcast that is coming out soon. I'll share the link to all of you guys so that you can watch it. So Mu and a very beautiful week. Let's get to work and let's show up every day. Take action. That's the only way you're going to see progress and growth. Thank you so much.